Here we are at Rjukan station, one of many small stops along the Rjukan line. It was shut down years ago, but the museum crew really works hard to keep it in good shape and make sure it's open for tourists to visit and enjoy. Now, we're about to take the train down to Mal station, where the sister ship, the hydro sister ship that sank, is currently docked, and it's a place with a lot of history. Ammonia and Storgård is a bit more modern and still operating. We'll check it out in detail today. So let's go. Rjukan. What's particularly interesting about this station is that it's the exact spot where the boat transported heavy water for the Germans, moving it from Rjukan across the vast Tinnsjøen Lake and then onward towards Germany. Now, the boat didn't sail all the way directly to Germany from here. Instead, it crossed the lake to connect with the rest of the transport network, which was crucial for their operations. And for those somewhat familiar with the heavy water sabotage, well, it was a kind of semi-big, but not that big, right? Sabotage at Vimark factory. The hydro factory in Vimark. But initially the sabotage only reduced production capacity temporarily, which was quickly resumed and even expanded shortly after. Therefore, the very last chance to stop the unstoppable German war machine from advancing was, of course, to sink it completely. The boat that carried the heavy water was part of the convoy. Now we'll take a short walk down the dock to see its sister ship, which is still afloat, if you can call it that. The original vessel, the one that sank and you've likely seen in movies and shows, lies deep beneath Tinnsjøen.
There was shattered glass on the floor, but if you touch it carefully, you'll see it's solid, not sharp. So it's basically a copy. The ornaments were traced back.
I've basically just followed the work. My whole job was at Bulsonesando, which is located inside Rika.
He managed to reconstruct everything, so I got to closely watch the whole process. I even took the last load with me when I started here, which really helped me understand things better. So I just ended up following along with everything they did, and honestly, that's kind of nice.
We can't avoid talking a bit about the hydrostone.
The count here was all about wild work, which is actually quite manageable and straightforward to handle.
Hydra was sunk on February 20th, 1943, marking the last women's concert since there had been several before it. It's a light table situation, so we're not just talking about one event, but actually there were 4 of those combined in total. And it was the 4th that took the water and all the production equipment because it was being watched.
29 people saved their lives. There were 14 civilians who went with them, accompanied by 4 German soldiers as well. The youngest was 3 years old.
It's only when you learn a name and age that you truly grasp what happened here. There was once a buoy where witnesses stood to remember, but it's been cut down and removed. We stopped putting it up since it no longer served a purpose. It quietly reminds us of a history fading away.
Because this is something incredibly sensitive here, they actually go so far as to remove it entirely, showing just how much it means to the people here. Hydro is a motor coach at the front, listed as number 97 on our official ship list, which is important for our records. She's considered part of World Heritage, truly unique, and will never be recovered. She's at 430 meters. Approach 400 meters.
They pulled hard, coming in loud and forceful, opening the hatch late at night without warning.
But it's pretty common for people to come aboard during a party. They lie down in the lifeboat because the boat leaves early. So they moved around a bit.
They hid carefully for a while, then went under the buoy and placed the fuse there, using an old alarm clock as a timer. So it sank there too, just like before. That really sucked and made everything so much harder than we expected.
She definitely hasn't had a smooth journey at all. Back in 1970, I ran aground unexpectedly. It happened because I was an officer who honestly thought the whole operation was dragging on way too long.
So they got a clear order to drive. The instrument responsible for setting the course, it wasn't properly heated. Underwater, Tinshön is like a log. Despite clear and strict orders to navigate carefully along the route, they steer too close to shore near Björkenese, and unfortunately they get a big gash in the side of the boat. They're really unlucky because Steveman, who is familiar with the area, should have guided them safely through these tricky waters. He knows that at Björkenese there's sandbars. The water's shallow, and it's all sand along the way. They turn the boat around and quietly head up there. Hanne, who had partners, her father was 10 years old then, sat by the window. Dad, Ammonia's now heading straight to shore. The last thing he saw of the farce that day was legs flying with a ladder and rugs. The engineer was waist deep in water. So she was saved just in time. They removed all the cargo from the boat, and she mentioned that she wanted to cross the waterway. You gave the boat a little push, and then it carried you a bit further up the stream, slowly but surely.